Hello everyone, this is Dr. Tom Chaney from Living Health Integrative Medicine in Annapolis. And in this video, I want to answer the question, what are the best fruits for type 2 diabetics? This is a question I get from many diabetics coming in looking for help from me to help them reverse their type 2 diabetes. And this can be a confusing topic because we are told that we should be eating our fruits and vegetables, correct? Fruits and vegetables are healthy. And that's what we're told. So let's talk about, and I want to answer that in more detail. Let me go back to that first slide. So first thing I want to go through is the top 5 fruits for diabetics. So these are my top 5: berries, cherries, citrus, pears, and apples. Those are the top 5. Now this is not a one-size-fits-all, so these are not good for every type 2 diabetic, and I'm going to talk about in just a minute why. But first, let me just talk about when you're choosing fruits, what are some strategies you should use. I would choose fresh when possible. I know it's not always possible, but when possible, choose fresh fruits. If you can't get fresh fruits, maybe it's not in season, then you would have to go to frozen as an option. The other thing I would recommend is looking for organic. For example, berries are known to have a tremendous amount of herbicides and pesticides, the conventional berries, and so all those toxins are going in your system. And so we talked about in my other video detoxification and toxins, how we're all exposed to them, but if we can minimize our exposure, then that's going to benefit our bodies. So if you can find organic, then that's what you want to do. So those are some strategies when you're looking for fruits. Now let's talk about some of the mistakes that I see diabetics making when it comes to intake of fruit. So number one, most diabetics, they're consuming too much. It's too much for your body. Your body is not able to handle that glycemic load, and as a result, you start to get elevated blood sugar, and insulin resistance starts to put too much stress on organs and glands and systems, and then your body can't handle it. That's the bottom line. So that's the other thing we have to look at is tolerance. What is the tolerance from patient to patient? Not all diabetics are the same, right? Not all diabetics are the same, but they're pretty much treated the same in the conventional medical model, but you're not. You're all different, and so you have different tolerances. And so we have to see what your body can tolerate. So in the beginning, I'm very limited with fruit. When I start a patient off, I really cut the fruit out. And so that's something to look at. How much are you consuming? And you don't want to overconsume. I would say, no more than 1 serving a day initially if you're trying to reverse your disease. And we can talk about how we're going to schedule those servings. And then the other mistake that I see diabetics making is they are consuming dried fruit and they're consuming fruit juices. This is like liquid sugar. This is going right into your system. Dried fruit has just so much sugar. I had a patient, she couldn't figure out why her sugars were so high, and I told her to do a food journal just so I could review, because she said, I'm sticking to the plan, Dr. Chaney. I'm doing everything you told me to do. And so when I reviewed her food diary, what I noticed was she was eating these dried cranberries. So if you've ever had a cranberry, you know how tart they are. And when they produce these dried cranberries, they have to put a tremendous amount of sugar in them just to make them palatable. So she was consuming these dried cranberries on a regular basis as her snacks. And she thought she was doing the right thing, but her body just couldn't tolerate it. And then the other thing is fruit juices. I see patients, for example, they'll go to these smoothie bars and they will get a fruit smoothie, and they think they're doing something that's healthy and it should be something that would benefit their body. But when you have all of this fruit just in these smoothies, you're probably consuming upwards of 3 servings of fruit at one time, one sitting. That's just too much for a type 2 diabetic to handle. And then you go to the store and you see these organic 100% juice. It's 100% organic, right? It's a fruit juice. It should be good for you. Once again, it's liquid sugar. and it's going to affect your blood sugar. So if there's one thing you could do, if you're consuming dried fruit, if you're consuming fruit juices, I would eliminate those if you're a type 2 diabetic immediately. The other thing to consider are food sensitivities. So one of the things I'll test my patients for are food sensitivities, looking at over 150 different foods and how your body is reacting to those foods. Some of those foods are fruits. And your body could have an immune reaction, which can trigger an inflammatory reaction, which can elevate your blood sugar. And so, once again, like we said, we don't have a one-size-fits-all when it comes to our diabetic fruit recommendations. We want to really individualize it for the person. And so food sensitivities could be an issue as well. So going back to my other list, berries, cherries, citrus, apple, pears, these could be on your sensitivity list. So we'd have to just scratch those off. Maybe it's just for a temporary period of time, but it could be permanent depending on how much your body's reacting. So those are some mistakes that I see. Here are some solutions. Limiting the quantity, like I talked about. If you're trying to reverse your diabetes, upwards of, you shouldn't be consuming more than 1 serving a day. And then food sensitivity testing. So if you're wondering, okay, maybe I'm having certain food sensitivities to foods that are influencing and causing my sugars to elevate, maybe you're doing all these things and you just can't quite figure it out. It looks like on the surface you're eating healthy foods. Maybe you're reacting to some of those healthy foods. So food sensitivity testing would be a way to figure that out and determine which ones you're reacting to. And then food combining. So that's another way to not only limit your quantity, but also just slow down the digestive process. So maybe you have some fruit with some vegetables. So you would have a smaller amount, a smaller quantity of fruit, combining that with some veggies, or maybe you have it with some nuts or seeds or something like that. So this would allow your body to, once again, you would have a smaller quantity with another type of food, and it would also help possibly slow down the digestive process and your absorption of that sugar. So I hope this helped. If it did, I would appreciate if you like this video. It really helps my channel. And then share this with friends or family as well. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them down below, and I'll be happy to answer those questions. And I will see you in the next video.